On your exam, I'll have both things written in both places. But one of those is a type 1 error, and one of those is a type 2 error. First of all, we'll go slightly out of order. Which one could we have made with our conclusion? Type 1 or type 2? Which one could we have made? Why type 1? Yes? Because our p-value is tiny, which means we got what kind of a test result? Negative? Positive. We got a positive test result. Something changed. We were expecting there to be no difference between the husbands and the wives, and the husbands came back more satisfied according to our numbers. Good? Yes? Thank you? Good. So we could have made a type 1 error. What is the chance of that error? According to Eric from earlier?
1 in 20.
Say that again.
1 in 20?
1 in 20. Exactly. Sorry, I guess I didn't hear you, Kelly. Sorry. Punk rock drill. F death. 1 in 20, 5%. Always. Always 1 in 20 or 5%. By definition, that's what we're setting it up to be. I mean, when we compare the p-value to 5%, we are essentially looking at just that. Good. Good. Done with that. Identify the type 1 error up there. Which of those two statements is the type 1 error? Kayla, help me. This one up here. Why not this one? Just out of curiosity, why is it this one?
Because the second one's a
Is it? What did we say here? We said the husband isn't happier. That's a negative test result, isn't it? If we say he's not happier, remember, a positive test result means we go in testing the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis says there's no difference whatsoever, which means the husband isn't happier than the wife. That's what this says. This would be a negative test result, coming back with, you know what, the husband's not happier. So what kind of would this be? Type 2. That's a type 2. Now, we couldn't have made a type 2 because what did we say in our conclusion? That the husband is happier. That's how we could be wrong. We said that over there, correct? We said it appears the husband is happier. We could be wrong. We could say he's happier when in fact he isn't. That's the type 1 right there. That's your type 1. So use your conclusion to formulate your error. Use your conclusion to formulate your error. Look for some shortcuts. If you're circling appears, what kind of error could that be? Always. That's going to be a type 1. And I'll make sure I write it so it always is too. Remember the confusion that came up in the last one? If I wrote the conclusion differently, it might have been the appears does not appear. When it says appears, you know you're getting a positive test result because it appears something has changed. I'll make sure I always phrase those properly. I think I know at least one of the data sets I'm going to use, the old avian flu. I love that data set. Swine flu or bird flu, whatever the hell it was a couple years ago. It was all vogue. Yes? Good? All right. So I'm figuring a t-test, a z-test, and then one of those general tests where you're just pulling stuff out of the the article. So, cool. Was match pair okay? L1, L2, L3? Decent. I like them. They're they're more realistic than the other one. I think, personally. Okay, doke. Email me if you get stuck. As I was walking out of my office today, I was handed all your papers back from my grader's boyfriend. Apparently she tried to get the papers back to me yesterday, but because COCC was closed, she couldn't get in the building. Which is a huge bummer, because I was actually in the building and I could have let her in had I known she was out there. But anyway, regardless, I wish I had stuff to get back to you. I don't. I'll get it back to you on Thursday. Okay, doke? My apologies. If you want to come by before that and grab it, that's totally fine too. What's up, Pete? Yes. Now you go up there and type either L1 minus L2 or L2 minus L1. Whatever however you want to
so
test
I would
it.
just say alpha, L?
It's second. 1.
Oh, second.
Yep. Minus second 2. It's the same way you get close. Before your pointer has to be. Do it again. Yeah. Yep, do it there. L1 minus L2. Okay, dim mismatch. That's not that command. That's the problem with your... No. It's the problem with your data. If you want to look at your data again. You've got an extra 4. You got to look at your data. Everything has to be matched. A mismatch means you've got 1 or 2 too many. Yes? So go in and look at your data. Get perfectly matched. Yes, yes? Good, good, yes. You won't need it for Thursday. Don't sweat that. Cool? Rach, we're gonna go to the next, it's in Grandview 109.
Okay.
Meet you up there?
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.